Today, February the 9th, 2022, Lyles Station Historic Schoolhouse and Museum salutes a young woman in the early 1800s who petitioned the courts for her freedom and won, Polly Strong. Her story begins before she was even born, for we have to go back to the early days of the territory, the Northwest Territory. Before Indiana was Indiana, or even the Indiana Territory, it was part of the Northwest Territory, established by the 1787 Northwest Ordinance. The ordinance set forth freedom of religion and other civil liberties for citizens, but more importantly, it outlawed slavery from the territory forever. Unfortunately, some residents found ways to skirt around the law. While the Northwest Ordinance prohibited slavery and involuntary servitude, most territory officials interpreted the anti-slavery Article 6 as a prohibition against bringing new slaves from other states and territories into the territory while sustaining the property rights of longtime inhabitants. In 1796, Strong was born into slavery in the Northwest Territory. Her mother was a slave. And around 1806, Hyacinthe Laselle, a prominent innkeeper in Vincennes, purchased her. 10 years later, Polly turned 20 and Indiana became a state. The new state constitution prohibited slavery as the 1787 ordinance had, but the same loophole applied. Those who were already considered slaves were kept as slaves and not emancipated. Since Polly's mother was a slave before the ordinance was enacted, she remained a slave. Then when Polly was born, she was automatically enslaved since her mother was a slave. At that time, enslaved persons in Indiana could pursue freedom in one of three ways. Their owners could emancipate them, they could hire an attorney to pursue their freedom in the court of law, or they could attempt to escape. Polly Strong chose to pursue her freedom in the courts. Polly's mother, Jenny, initiated the fight for Polly's freedom in 1818 when she hired a local Vincennes attorney, Moses Tabbs, to petition the court for a writ of habeas corpus, forcing Lasalle, a prominent citizen, to bring Polly and her younger brother James to court and demonstrate why they should remain enslaved. Lasalle argued that since their mother was legally enslaved and they were born into slavery, that he legally owned them. Tabbs countered that Polly was born after the 1787 Northwest Ordinance and therefore was free. Lasalle then produced indenture papers for both Polly and James, signed a month before the court appearance, that claimed the two were, quote, contentedly in employment, close quote, and Polly would be serving Lasalle for 12 more years, though James had only 4 more years. Lasalle claimed the indentures were willingly signed. Moses Tabbs argued the indentures were not signed willingly, since both Polly and James were imprisoned at the time and threatened by Lasalle. Amory Kinney, a young lawyer from New York, learned of Polly's case and was shocked to learn that slavery still existed in Indiana, despite the state constitution prohibiting it. In 1820, Kinney and Strong took her case to the Knox County Circuit Court. The court ruled that she remained enslaved, but the fight didn't stop there. they took it to the new Indiana State Supreme Court in Corydon, where the court ruled in favor of Polly Strong, granting Strong her freedom. In 2016, the Indiana Historical Bureau erected a memorial plaque commemorating Strong's victorious court case, one that paved the way for other slaves to use the courts to obtain their freedom.